This is Azbolg, the gaming orc, and we're playing Demonology Warlock in an RPG here. And I kind of just want to see, Demonology's been buffed a little bit. It's getting buffed again this Tuesday. The Demon Bolt, Shadow Bolt, and the Dreadstalkers all getting a nice 15% buff. So a lot of those nerfs that kind of happened, I believe, in the beta are starting to be reversed for Demonology, which is, I think, one of the funnest specs to basically play in the game. Now, right now, it could only be viable in Battlegrounds, and I did do some arena with Night Silver with Demonology, and the damage is just way too low. And the damage is in general too low. So the question is this damage going to be enough? And hopefully this Battleground kind of shows you this. I think I have almost 360 gear score with this Demonology Warlock. But right now, a couple of the problems with Demonology is I feel like it doesn't really have any really powerful Azeroth traits that really push it over. A lot of the ones that were really powerful, like Thunderous Blast, have been nerfed. So, but I'm talking about like class specific or spec specific Azeroth traits. We don't really have any super cheese ones. They are trying to buff the Hand of Gul'dan one a bit, where it doesn't use soul shards and stuff like that, but stackable buffs don't really exist. And then you can see my laser matrix going off quite a few times. This game, I don't think I die at all, so I'm just doing balls to wall damage. And if I was playing my Affliction Warlock, I'd be just doing a lot more damage. And you can see I'm basically playing perfectly. I'm playing the Zeus spec, so I'm playing with all the pets, dropping my pets, and then I summon the my Dread Infernal, so my big pets are out for a really long time. They're like leg sweeping and everything. The big pets need to be buffed. I was thinking like how Demonology, beyond just an overhaul and a lot of the survivability aspects, the big pets need to be buffed. Instead of doing 5% base damage, they need to do 10%. So if you sit in them, you get punished hard. And I mean, 10% isn't that much, even if they get hit, but it would be punishing enough to where you cast a spell in the range of it. And you can see actually during this encounter, like my Wrathguard dies a few times too, which is kind of again a big negative. So you have your pet dying a lot. Your pets don't really do enough damage. The only spec that might emerge out of this Tuesday's buff is the Pleasure Through Pain spec, where you're doing essentially doom damage. So you're doing shadow damage with your Succubus. So you're doing huge Shadow Bolt damage, and again 15%. Dreadstalkers still, very low damage spell, buggy spell, doesn't really connect. So the problem with the Warlocks right now, the Arena World Championship was just on yesterday, and literally again, no representation of Warlocks. I popped my cooldown here, I'm getting focused. So they just put the bubbles and are able to top me off. Demonology, one cool thing about it is it's tanky. Let me focus my thoughts a little bit here, talking about the championship, and let's compare it to Shadow Priest. Apparently Shadow Priest, in previous expansions, they were kind of squishy. And now Warlocks are just extremely squishy. So that's why they're not good in Arena. That's why there's literally no representation. Apparently the auto attacks, they have low armor. And we don't have the, ability to ward off like melee players. So not only are you getting counterspelled all the time as a hard caster, but Warlocks, Affliction Warlocks are really just a glass cannon. In Demonology, while they do have sustain, like my opponents have to be stacked basically perfectly for me to use my Implosion, and Implosion does trash damage. So Implosion needs a buff, and it's not getting a buff. So you see that Warlock over there putting the Drain Life on me. And you'll see that Warlock at the end of the match, he's doing way more damage than me in Demonology, and I'm just freeballing here. I mean, I'm dropping all the pets, I'm basically playing perfectly. And just Demonology is just not doing nearly enough damage, and my pet's dying all the time too. So I have to resummon my pet, which is a big pain, too, because my pet doesn't get healed or AoE healed enough, or the Soul Link doesn't heal him enough, etc. So the pet's actually like a liability. Let's compare it to Shadow Priest though. Like apparently if you get a certain amount of insanity with Shadow Priest, you gain like a huge damage reduction. So Shadow Priests are insanely tanky, and actually one of the Shadow Priests just from the Gosu crew just won the World Championship with playing a Shadow Priest and with a Rogue, because Rogues are really good as well right now, it feels like. rogue openers, all the CC from rogues, at least in arena. And battlegrounds, it's a little bit more debatable, but rogues can always find a place. Like you saw in my previous video in the ranked battleground, rogue and defending nodes is very good. So you see here, I'm just free balling. I'm casting my demon. The flag's not getting taken, but in the background, we're losing our flag. They're like capping our flag. We're not like dominating the middle. So even with my shaman, where my shaman isn't really outputting like hard damage. What I want to call is like quality damage. Like a Moonkin might, fire the whole field, rack up like 8 million damage, but I'm talking like killing blow damage here. Like you're riding someone down, you're really hampering them, and like what utility are you bringing? And as demonology, thinking about my shaman, it has Earthbound, the Tremor Totem, like a lot of, really helps out like a group. Warlocks in general are just a pure DPS class, and when you don't give them the DPS, if that's what you want to classify them as, you don't give them that DPS capability, then they're going to lose. So the moral of the story is, take away from this video, I don't know if the 15% buff is going to be enough, especially for PvP. But on Tuesday I will play it. I'll try playing a couple specs. I'll play the Zeus spec, and I'll play the Shadow Through Pain, Pleasure Through Pain spec to try it out and see if it's enough. Now in PvE, it could be enough, but on certain PvE bosses for demonology, things are really buggy as well. It's starting to get low again here. You see, I do have a lot of survivability, and one of my previous videos I mentioned like how they could actually increase survivability of warlocks, and one way is to actually move so the warlocks maybe have baseline demon skin, and then they can choose to get dark packed. And then another warlock had like a bunch of awesome like WoD ones like Kill Jaden's Revenge, and I didn't play with those because they were in a different expansion. You see my lasers are just going off like crazy in this game. So finally we take the mid, but we're already losing the game. Like the game's pretty much over because they've just been able to run around. And most of the damage too from demonology comes from Fellstorm. Like your demon cleaving multiple mobs, he swings his sword or his weapon in front and cleaves and hits a lot of targets. The Mortal Strike is okay, but it's not like game breaking, to be honest with you. Like you can see it's stacking, I guess, on him over there. But in my opinion, I don't see a material difference. Would I dot someone with Affliction when I have 3 Inevitable Demises up on my Azerite trait? Because again, Affliction has powerful Azerite traits. They start hurting right away. Like they don't jump off their mount and start healing themselves. They're already at like 20-30% off their HP. It's hurting them big time. So guy in tree form here and not really hurting him. Got the little thundercloud on him. I think that's from me and from, I think they changed the animation or something on one of the abilities. Heading back to the flag to make sure they don't have it. It looks like we are Alliance, so we actually have their flag. They're trying to get our flag back, but we're down so many points because we do have 2 bases now, but we're just losing. So we do have the cart, but we're just down a lot because I think they were able to cap like a lot of cart caps. Again, because you have to like dominate the middle, and you just, you can see I'm fearing in things too. It's just not enough. Fear is not a very powerful CC sometimes because people can break it easily. All the collateral damage that you're doing. Another real way to buff demonology is you give it buff the pet damage. The real damage, or give an Azerite trait to buff the Fellstorm damage. Then you're going to see a huge jump in demonology damage. So when the pet goes out, and that's kind of a way, if you think about demonology should be, the pet should be damaging a lot more. So the big pets from the PvP talents need to be more diverse. The PvP talents in general for demonology should be reworked to make it really unique and cool. It feels like they kind of, like someone said, they kind of gave up on demonology. They nerfed it, they over nerfed it, and then just kind of gave up. And apparently Ian, the main developer, said like he doesn't want people to play demonology as a joke or something. But I mean, it's not funny, man. I know, like it's not freaking funny. Like people level up. Warlock is the least underrepresented class behind monks and I think DKs. And DKs are also in a real bad spot because I don't see very many of them in arena. They're not in a competitive spot. at all. Limited mobility, limited damage. I think this is where I finally die, because I'm healer versus a mage, and our healer, which is marked with the thing over there, he's just sitting on the flag. He doesn't want to come heal me. So this video really is just trying to emphasize that I don't know if those buffs are going to be enough. And you can see my damage here is about half of what an Affliction Warlock is. Now, if I played Affliction, my damage would be right up there at 45 million, maybe even more. And that's pretty game breaking. That's almost as a pure damage class. And part of that problem, the reason why I can't match that damage, is because my big pets damage and they're not doing enough damage. Like if someone's sitting on the flag, instead of doing 5% base damage, you do 10% base damage. It's gonna hurt, you know. And I don't care about the stun. You know, give maybe the Felguard a little bit more like a buff in general as far as ability. Give it a pummel. I talked about that as well. Mechanically, I think you could give Warlocks a lot of buffs, but until it feels like now it's more of a mechanical issue. So like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you in the next video.